nationalities, allowing officials to export to the border by preventing people embarking on journeys to the UK if they were considered a threat. Now, Lucy, you just joined us in the studio, and before the break we were talking about the threat that may come about from these air attacks, if you like, on IS in Syria. Do you think our border controls are too lax? Do you think we should be upping our border checks?
I think they're on it at the present moment, but I do think it should be stronger, because you never know that is. And I know some people don't agree with the fact that some people in Syria can't come in, but I'm sorry, while we have what's going on in Syria, we cannot have anybody else coming to our country from Syria. Now, fine, from other places, if their passports match to where the person is from, and passports are checked profusely, because you never know if it's a fake passport or not. So, but we cannot afford for anyone to come over here and basically set up some bomb, especially because we're coming around to Christmas. I mean, we can't, and we've got to think about our own people at the end of the day, and that's what it is.
Okay. Well, your thoughts, Steve?
Well, you should have been here 5 minutes ago. This is what we're talking about, really. I think there's a narrative that's been constructed, which is, we can't let them in, we can't let any migrants in because the migrants are the enemy. But as we were talking about, a lot of this stuff is actually homegrown. In France, I think it was one person who'd sneaked in, but the others were homegrown. 7/7 bombers were homegrown. And I think it's an easy argument to say, we can't let them in because they're all going to be terrorists, when the real problem is actually is people that are being radicalised at home.
It's a grooming process, really.
Yeah.
From these horrible extremists that are taking on young, vulnerable teenagers, basically, a lot of the time, that probably are getting bullied at school, things like that. So of course they get the attention from them, and they groom them to be these.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah, what is the radicalisation process? So I take your point about what you're saying before, but you're wrong. So.
All right. So we still can't have them coming in here. We know we've got a lot here.
Yeah.
But we still cannot have them coming in.
Yeah. This is good. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. I think we need to. I think the real threat is at home. I think that's stronger than the perception of threat that's coming in from outside. Yeah.
Just going, Steve, back about the borders, if you like. Do you think our border controls are as tough as they could be?
I don't know. No. Yes. No. I don't care. Let people come in. I'm not bothered. I think we should let people come into this country. We need them. They contribute to the economy. People who come into this country pull in more than they take out. It's only an accident of birth, isn't it? We just happen to be born in England, so we're subjected to these concepts of nations and borders. We weren't born in the Lebanon. It was just luck. That's all. Get rid of all borders. Get rid of all. Just roam around.
So maybe people should have freedom to travel between.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Isle of Wight? The Isle of Wight's great. You could get the whole world moving onto the Isle of Wight, having a really fab time.
And then
the rest of the world is like free to run around. So just do that. That's bad.
Possibly. What about this thing then about because it's a computerised passport? So I don't know if you've used or if you've got a more modern passport. They basically check your photograph against the photograph that's on your passport.
Yeah, I've done that. It's frustrating.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is really, isn't it?
Yeah.
The checks that the magistrate.
It's well needed. It's well needed, especially because of what's happened over the years as well. It's needed, and it's good that we've got that in one sense. But then it's the fear of you being a computer state, that they've got every bit of information about you.
Yeah.
There on the internet. For anyone to use.
Yeah, it's true.
But so they've wasted £800 million on this system that doesn't really work. And it's not keeping the undesirables out of the country.
Oh, they could have repainted the Isle of Wight for less than half that.
They could have done it. Anyway, we'll move on. And UK firms cut their foreign investment by the largest amount in a decade last year. British firms clawed back a net £70 £29.9 billion worth of overseas investments in 2014. The foreign firms also scaled back their investments here in the UK. Overall, the amount of money invested overseas by UK companies fell to 1.15 trillion in 2014. That's from 1.25 trillion in 2013. It is the first time British companies have reduced net foreign direct investment in more than a decade, the Office of National Statistics has said. So what's happening? Well, it seems that money is being spent at home. British companies are invested in the UK economy, prompting growth and jobs. One company, English Fine Cotton, which makes material for bulletproof vests, is to invest £5.8 million in Tameside on regenerating a mill to spin cotton. It will be the first time a new cotton mill has opened in a generation. Could we be seeing the rebirth of British manufacturing with people investing more here in the UK, do you think, Steve?
Yeah, well, I hope so, because I live in Tameside
Okay.
and I don't have a job. And I need a T-shirt. So if they need any people to get on board, then I'll go along. So yeah, maybe. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I'm more interested in the reason why foreign companies aren't investing in this country anymore. Because if you listen to Gideon Osborne, he will tell us that foreign investment is increasing. So
Yeah.
so this is from the Office of National Statistics.
Yeah, this
saying
is
it's
from
gone
last year. It's data up until March of this
Right.
year, really.
So-
And you know, they're basically saying that British companies aren't investing as much overseas anymore, but at the same time, people aren't investing in us.
Yeah, so the question mark around that. I mean,
Yeah.
I also know as well, or heard that when people talk about foreign investment, a lot of it is diverted, first of all, into places like the Cayman Islands and things as well. So you can talk
Okay.
about these huge figures of investment, but actually a third of it doesn't even come into this country anyway. It just sits there in kind of offshore accounts. But I do think it's interesting that British companies are kind of in there, because that's, you know, you look at Germany, you look at the end of World War II, and you often wonder who won and who lost. Maybe if we'd kept up with manufacturing and invested in our own country,
Yeah,
then we
that's
wouldn't
true.
be
Yeah.
wherever we are now.
Well, it's good news, obviously, for Tameside and the fact that they're opening the first cotton mill in a generation. In fact,
In how many years?
Well,
When we were the
millions,
biggest
yeah.
industry of cotton for a heck of a lot of years, and it's so good that we've actually got it back now because it went abroad. And we were getting it from abroad. So
Yeah.
let's open more. Let's get some more. Let's get Britain back to being Great Britain.
They should have a made in Tameside label maybe as well. That might encourage people,
Yeah, to go to Tameside,
local
yeah,
economy
Tameside.
stuff.
Might be good. Might be good. Yeah, the particular mill that the company is taking over ceased production in 1955. So we're
Right.
talking, you know, a good 60 years.
Yeah.
Now
Talking
before.
bringing back some good old British history.
Yeah.
And putting it out there and letting the world know that, yeah, we are still the best and we still be the best
Yeah.
no matter what. You can go out, all other countries can do what they do, but Britain will always be the best at doing cotton and
At making T-shirts.
and making t-shirts. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And bulletproof vests.
What kind of industry would you like to see back? Do you think? Obviously, we've got the cotton mills, and you know, if we can get that back up and running, maybe not use the Victorian buildings because the majority of them are apartments now,
Yeah.
of course. But you know, what other industries do you think that the UK could start clawing back?
Well, it's got to be manufacturing, hasn't it, really? You know, if you're producing something within your own country, then that means you can buy things that are built and made in that country as well, and that will make the economy improve. I think we need to move away from the services industry and the financial that we've positioned ourselves as over the past 20 years. I do. And people say, don't they, what's happened to our manufacturing base, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, if you invest in manufacturing, then people will buy British goods and support this economy.
Yeah.
It would be nice to actually look at something and look underneath and see made in Britain instead of made in Taiwan or made in, you know, that's what you always end up seeing, or made blah blah place. You know, it would be brilliant to actually have that. That would be one of the best things.
Yeah. I think so.
Made in Bolton.
Made in Bolton.
Really
Made
low
in-
like that.
Yeah,
Really
made in
localised.
Scunthorpe.
Why not?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I mean, it'd be brilliant.
It would be. Just a quick sideline before we go to a break. Amazon are opening a big warehouse at Manchester Airport.
Oh, I can
That's
try
something
there as
that I
well.
saw in the news today as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
There's
try there
jobs.
for a job.
I could do part-time stacking books and part-time making T-shirts.
Well, there you go. There you go. Again, we'll take a short break, but do stay with us because when we come back, we'll be talking about smart street lights and talking bus stops. See you in 3.
Hello and welcome back to the Advisors.
Show us the World Championship one. Go on, show it off.
From the riots in Manchester.
Oh, so the actual foot, yeah. Particular type of tennis,
Wait! Excuse me.
Whatever you pack for your trip to Europe, make sure it includes a free European health insurance card. It'll cover all or most of the costs of necessary medical treatment in Europe, so you don't have to worry about it. It's always advisable to take out travel insurance. But make sure all the family have a European health insurance card. Apply online, by phone or post. If you already have one, check the expiry date before you travel. For information, call 0845 605 0707 or visit the website.
London's only 2.5 hours away, so treat yourself to a weekend in one of the world's 2 great theatre districts. At West End Plus, we've got great value tickets on all the big West End shows, and City Breaks, where you can book your tickets, travel, hotel and restaurants all in one place at fantastic prices. There are even discounts on some of London's best loved attractions. Book your break in London with westendplus.com.
Welcome back to Now We're Talking with me, Mark Duffy. Stephen Lucy are still with me looking at the latest trending news stories online. If you want to get involved in the discussion, why not tweet us here in the studio at That's